You're listening to the World of Business and Taxes with Mike Lodge, keeping you informed. So let's get started.
And welcome to another podcast of the World of Business and Taxes with Mike Lodge, or otherwise known as the WBT. You know, I should probably never do podcasts in the evening because at the end of the day, I am beat. Today was one of those days where, I don't know, but all of a sudden we got 5 new tax clients that came in that are all being audited. Not by what we did, but from a different tax group. And so each one had a different story and each one had a different madness, if you want to call it that. But that's what you do call it, because when people get their audit letter from the IRS, they are mad. So the Congress and the Senate are talking about tax reform. Or at least they want to call it real tax reform. But here's a problem. With every line of the tax return is a tax deduction. And on your tax return is a lobbyist. And with every lobbyist is a congressman. And there lies the problem. The other issue is that every tax deduction creates a situation of an IRS audit. So we have 2 big problems, or let's call them negatives. 2 big negatives. The question is, will there be really a true tax reform? And we have to answer that. Probably not. Even now, in the last few days, Speaker Ryan is talking about simplifying the reporting process to a 1-page tax return at postcard size. That would be great. But he's still keeping a couple of deductions, and that is he's keeping the mortgage interest deduction on your house and the charitable deduction. So once again, it is still an audit situation because the IRS looks at both of those 2 items and send out random audit letters to clients on those 2 tax deductions, those very 2 tax deductions that Speaker Ryan wants to keep. I know. I had a call yesterday from a tax client that sent me his audit letter. And those 2 items were being audited. The people that came in today, those same items were on their audit letters. So don't we want to get to a situation where we are audit free of the IRS? I think the answer is yes. But as long as Congress is going to simplify but yet leave in deductions that are auditable, we're still going to have that mess. So, you know what I would propose is that the W-2 that we file at the end of the year, that should be the new tax return for every single taxpayer. Forget the married filing jointly, the single, the separate, and so forth. Each person working should file a W-2 taxed at an appropriate rate based on wages, no deductions, and you're done. Simple and easy and no auditability by the IRS. Eliminate the deductions and you eliminate audits and questions by the IRS. Besides, the point everyone is on an even playing field based on lower tax rates and higher tax rates for those really up in the millionaire range. The more you simplify it, the more you reduce risk and problems to the American people by the IRS. And April 15th is gone because your employer filed your W-2 for you. With all the appropriate tax rates and everything already been paid and now are being reported at the end of the year. Simple as can be. Now, if you are self-employed, you should file a small business tax return or a C Corp. Do away with all the LLCs, the partnerships, the S Corps, and everything else that pass through to your personal tax return. That's gone. If you are getting dividends, then the taxes should be paid and reported on the 1099 DIV form for the dividends reporting, but you still have a need for business returns because operating a business includes all income and expenses that are associated with running that business. But the business tax rate should be lowered so that businesses can compete without such high tax rates. But, however, the Congress needs to write strong language on the protection of the company against lawsuits and manage the tort situation. Remember, lawsuits are the biggest issues that small business have because people are sue crazy. So there's got to be some limitations as to how you look at a corporation and what the protective measures are there for individuals. If you keep in the deductions of mortgage interest and charitable deductions, it keeps the door open for Americans to be audited by the IRS or to be in greater trouble by making a mistake and leading to criminal prosecution by the IRS. And that can be done. It is being done right now, and I've seen it happen. Americans have no idea what they are signing because the tax returns of today are many pages. They're many pages in length and confuses everyone. They don't know what is actually in their tax return. And they don't understand that how one mistake can put them in trouble with the IRS. More and more people are getting audit letters examining their tax returns. Let the tax deductions go away and just a simplified tax reporting system put in place, and it ends the audit issue on Americans. It gets you out of that troubled area where the auditors have the right to come in and assess you and do whatever else based upon what you've done throughout the year or in the past years or in the next years. We've got to get away from such a difficult, complicated tax code that no one really understands because it's higher than the Empire State Building in New York. So we have an issue. And the issue is that we need to simplify these tax reporting. We need if you get rid of all of the deductions, do you know how many pages that takes out of the tax code? Thousands and thousands and thousands of pages. Makes it simple for you and me. Now, I know this sounds simplified, but my point is that if we do not simplify the tax form, and we do not do tax reform, we as American taxpayers will always be faced with complicated tax issues from a complicated tax code. So we need tax reform. All of us do. But we need to simplify it and get rid of thousands and thousands of pages of tax code that creates more problems for Americans every single tax season, every single year. So I suggest to the United States Congress, focus on the individual tax simplification first. Then look at what you will need as business returns and how you need to revamp the business returns and the tax rates associated with them. But you can't do both together. You've got to do them separately. Because the corporate and the business tax codes are much more complicated when it comes to depreciation, when it comes to amortization, when it comes to startup costs, and et cetera, et cetera. There needs to be a good look at how we prepare our corporate tax returns and what the codes are associated with them. But first you need to look at the individual because that will tell you what you will need to do on the business returns. So that is my suggestion, is that we need to do tax reform, but it needs to be organized and it needs to be simplified and the tax rates need to come down. If we follow what I've suggested, it makes it so much easier to file your tax returns guilt-free. You don't have to make up stories about deductions. You don't have to make up stories about auto expenses. You don't have to make up anything. All you have to do is have your employer report the correct amount of money that you've earned, the taxes paid, based upon your tax rate, based upon your wage level, and you are done for the year. Come on, guys. Let's just simplify it and move on. This tax Talk Tonight, Tax Reform Talk Tonight, is brought to you by Lodge & Company, a business advisory and tax firm. We can help you on almost any problem that you have. Call us at toll-free at 877-778-1770, and we will be more than happy to work with you. Or you may go to our website at www.lodge-co.com. If you want to listen to all of our podcasts, which are many now, I think we're almost up to 150 podcasts, you can go to www.wbtpod.com. I hope you've had a great day, and remember, encourage your congresspeople and your senators. Simplify it. Don't make it more complicated. This tax code needs to be taken down a few notches and made simplified. Once again, this is Mike Lodge, and I'll talk with you soon.
Thank you for listening. Join us again tomorrow.
Stay informed with the world of business and taxes with Mike Lodge.
Have a great day.